My Greatest Adventure number 2 anthology book, Robot Man, Garbage Man, and Tanga. It was very confusing last time. Let's hope it's better this time. So, first story is Robot Man's story. We last left off with him being torn apart by zombies while seemingly being very nonchalant about it. This issue picks up, same place. He's still being torn apart, and he goes through basically the Asimov's 3 laws of robots, like robotic morals or whatever, where he's like he can't hurt anybody, he has to obey orders from humans, and he has to protect himself. But he gets around the second law by the fact that the only human he has to listen to is his own human brain. So that's a thing. But anyway, his head is torn off and thrown out of the zombie cafe thing, but he managed to get a look at, apparently the rice is not like actually rice, or it is rice, but it's more so nanobots. So he does some sort of crazy ass Google search and comes to the conclusion that if he dehydrates all the rice, it'll make the nanobots inert and he can save the day. So he modifies some carbon dioxide and water, makes some dry ice, and that did it. Sure, yeah, whatever. So then Maddie shows up and she sees the disassembled Robot Man starting to Iron Giant himself back together. And I was like, all right, cool, you good? You need to eat? And he's like, yes, please. And apparently he's got a Mr. Fusion built into him because she just shovels garbage down his back like shoot. And it's like, this is perfectly fine for an energy source, along with solar cells and kinetic generators. So apparently this is... if you remember, the entire thing was they're looking for a guy named Mr. Turing, but he wasn't here. So now they are, for some reason, going to Zanzibar City. For the life of me, I don't know why. There's nothing to indicate why they're going to Zanzibar City, but regardless, he's flying off to Zanzibar. As he's flying there, he's still a bit hungry. He eats some fish under the ocean, and then as he approaches Zanzibar City, sees that a giant robotic snake is attacking it. So he goes up against it. It doesn't go so well. He gets some acid sprayed on him, which severs his leg, and he falls down into the mouth of the giant viper, and it starts like digesting him by basically just crushing him. And as he does, Maddie comes over the comms and says like, oh, by the way, Turing didn't go to Zanzibar City. He went to an island near Zanzibar City. You're in the wrong place. And this island is where I found you. Like it's some special location. Okay, and that's where it ends off with him being crushed by the snake. Seemingly. I'm going to give this one a 5. Like, I don't know how we got from like the beginning of the issue to here. It just seems like characters are like, all right, I'm going to go do this thing now, bye. So yeah, art-wise, it's okay. It's nothing to write home about. It's fine. The snake looks good. I like the snake. So moving on to Garbage Man. By the way, I don't think I said Robot Man was written by Matt Kint and drawn by Scott Collins, and Garbage Man is Aaron Lopresti all over. So we last left off Garbage Man. He was talking to some guy named the Reverend, and we just pick up here again where he's talking to the Reverend and basically just shooting the shit. Like he's just talking like, oh wow, you got yourself a nice place here. It's Gotham. You know, you should get some lighting. It's really dark around here. Someone could get lost. And of course, on cue, we cut to someone getting lost. He's like, Reverend, I'm here to help you. And he's got a flashlight, and he turns with the flashlight and sees a silhouette that seems to be a velociraptor, but we don't follow through on that. So whatever. Also during that shooting the shit scene, Reverend's just like, Garbage Man, you know, he's like, oh, even Jesus wasn't saved suffering, so don't expect so much for yourself. Shit's gonna suck. So then we cut to the Batcave, and Batman goes through the entirety of what we know about Garbage Man, that there was a lawyer who ended up in an accident, but it was weird that a lawyer was there to begin with, and also this accident, which was by Titan Pharmaceuticals, It was handled cleanup-wise entirely by Titan Pharmaceuticals. The police didn't get involved at all, so it's something for him to look into, especially because it has something to do with this, as Batman calls it, a mud man. And then we go back to his secretary on the street, Miss Collins. I can't remember the first name real quick, Samantha. And one of the homeless people was like, "Hey, I'm here to take you to see Garbage Man." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." It's like, your friend needs you. Come. She's like, "Fine, whatever." And she goes down an alley where Garbage Man's hiding in the back. And he says, "It's me, it's Richard." And she's like, "No, Richard died." And he reveals, like, you told me when I gave you that pendant that I could always count on you. And Samantha's like, "It is you, Richard. Please, let me see you." And he's like, No, I'm hideous. I'm a monster. But Titan Pharmaceuticals is into some shady shit. So, like, keep your distance and be safe. And she's like, "Oh, we can deal with it together, Richard. Let me see you." And he's like, "All right." And he steps forward, and then she just runs off. And then as she runs off, Batman comes in with the flying kick, throws an oil drum at him, and it's just like, "I've got you now, Mudman." And then we just leave off because they're going to fight Batman. Honestly, I'm going to give that one a 6. It's fine. It's good enough. It's got some issues, but at least I'm following it well enough. I don't know why Batman is, like, all of a sudden in on this, but hey, whatever. Then we go to everyone's favorite Tanga. If we left off last issue with her being paralyzed while fighting a monster and being forced to just sit there while all of her people are killed by this monster. We pick up, she's still paralyzed. Kevin Maguire on story and art, by the way. She's still paralyzed, forced to stare at them, and she's saying that she's going to kill everybody here, but she has to suppress it. Finally, she manages to shake herself out of her paralyzation, flies off as fast as she can into space, and goes like supernova. And then we just see her floating around in space for a while, just catching her breath, and she's like, "All right, so I guess this planet hates me now. I'll go find another new one." And she's like, "Well, you know what? This one wasn't my fault. The other ones, all the other planets, those were my fault. But this one wasn't my fault, and I'm going to get some answers." So she flies back down. The people of the planet already know what she did and are all super pissed off at her. They're like firing at her, and she's like, "Look, I get it. You have every right to be pissed, but I'm going to make this right." And then she flies off to find a friend in some nearby city. I don't even think he has a name, but apparently he's just a smart tentacle monster. And she managed to track him down easy. And she's like, "Oh, no, you don't get near me. You last time you came by, you damaged my tentacles." And there's some like weird Sasquatch looking guy along with the tentacle monster, and the Sasquatch is like, "Everybody knows you exploded, Tanga." And he's like, "Wow, you have a very efficient information network." That is quite literally the line. But the Sasquatch is like, I know someone who might be able to tell you what you need to know about this planet." And she's like, "Cool, let's go." So they go outside the city and meet up with this random dude who seemingly was expecting them. And that's just where he looks like a sack boy. That's it. I'm giving that one a 5 because at least it isn't as batshit crazy as the last one of Tanga, but I don't know what to make of this anthology, really. This honestly feels like that we are contractually obligated to tell these stories sort of book, but it's okay, I guess. Nothing's standing out yet. I don't know if I'm looking forward to issue 3, but clearly I'm going to deal with it. So my greatest adventure is not that great.